So good morning, children, and welcome to the class. So in today's class, let us start discussing about the new chapter, the forward bloc and the Indian National Army. Okay, so let us see how who was the what was the character that revolves around this chapter. So by this time, you might have already understood that this chapter revolves around Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, so let us see what was the role of Subhash Chandra Bose in Indian National Congress, how he started all this forward bloc and Indian National Army in the class.
Subhash Chandra Bose was born on 23rd January 1897 at a place called Cuttack in Odisha. So his birthplace was Cuttack in Odisha. And after completing his studies in India, he went to England and passed the Indian Civil Service examination. But by this time, I mean, you might understand that this man was the very first among the people who have qualified this Indian Civil Service examination that was held in England. And very soon he resigned from the civil service because he did not want to work under the British Crown. So by this time, the way the national movement was being carried on and the way the people were involving in the national movement attracted Subhash Chandra Bose towards this movement. And he also doesn't want to work under the British Crown. He also said, supporting his attitude towards a nation, that I do not think that one could be loyal to British Raj and yet serve India honestly, heart and soul. That means, see, he mentions that at the same time he cannot work very loyal to the British government, as well as he can also make himself sure with the national movement which is going against the Britishers. So he resigned from his job and he joined the national movement. So Bose entered active politics at the age of 24 and he became a Swarajist. So Subhash Chandra Bose, at the age of 24, so what he did, he resigned his job and he entered into active politics. And by the time he was just 24 years old, and he became a Swarajist. What is this Swarajist? So during those days, Congress party had certain group of people by name Motilal Nehru and Chittaranjan Das. Okay, these people, they were not happy with the decisions taken by Mahatma Gandhi because calling off a non-cooperation movement, suddenly in between leaving civil disobedience movement and joining a second roundtable conference of Mahatma Gandhi. So this kind of events were not liked by certain group of congressmen, and they formed a separate group called Swarajist group. Okay, so this Swarajist group was in favor of national movement, but they were not happy with the decisions of Mahatma Gandhi. So he joined that group and he did not agree with Gandhian thought. So in fact, he was inspired by Gandhi in a way through non-cooperation movement. But the way he called it off without any further continuation when it was at its full progress made certain group of congressmen to get disappointed with Congress. They started a Swarajist group. So in that Swarajist group, Subhash Chandra Bose was also a part, or he was also a member because he doesn't like the Gandhian thought later. Bose was a man of an action. He believed in agitation and resorted to revolutionary methods for the attainment of Swaraj. So he believes in action. He doesn't believe in the way we get into suffering and all. He doesn't want, and he doesn't believe in all those things. He believes only one thing: we should enter into action, and that action should yield some result. So this kind of mindset was very much fixed to Subhash Chandra Bose. So he adapted naturally all the kind of revolutionary methods, so which are very aggressive. Sometimes it also involves with the uh, violence. So naturally, from here onwards, okay, there is definitely there will be a gap between Gandhiji's ideology as well as Subhash Chandra Bose ideology. So Bose and the Indian National Congress. So how was the relation? How he was attached to it, and what are the developments we will see. Bose was attracted by the non-cooperation movement launched by Mahatma Gandhi and became an active worker of freedom movement. So when non-cooperation movement was launched, the way it has attracted huge masses into movement, it also made Subhash Chandra Bose to become an active worker in freedom movement. He also started involving himself in the the freedom movement, and he criticized Gandhiji. So who criticized? It was Subhash Chandra Bose who criticized Gandhiji. So why do you think he has criticized Gandhiji? Because when Gandhiji withdrew the non-cooperation movement, so why did Gandhiji withdraw non-cooperation movement? Because of the entry of violence into non-cooperation movement with an incident called Chauri Chaura incident. Okay, so because of this Chauri Chaura incident where the farmers have agitated and have set up a police station on fire along with some policemen, Gandhiji doesn't like the movement to proceed towards violent ways, and he wanted to curb that violent way of agitation. So he called off the non-cooperation movement nationwide. That was criticized by Subhash Chandra Bose against Gandhi, and Bose also participated in the civil disobedience movement of 1930. So, after the non cooperation movement, he even continued his efforts in the national movement by participating even in civil disobedience movement, so which was also launched by Gandhiji. And at the Haripura session of the Congress in 1938, he was unanimously elected as president of the Congress. And so, see, with Congress, his journey goes like this. It started with non-cooperation. Later, he went to he even participated in the civil disobedience movement. Later on, he even became the president of Indian National Congress at the Haripura session of Gujarat. So, when he became president, his emphasis was laying stress on national planning. See, he wanted planning to be made by Congress party. See, otherwise the masses are coming onto the roads and they're agitating. Again, if it is leaderless, it is becoming diluted. He doesn't want all such things. What he wanted was there must be a plan before masses or people comes. They must have a plan, and they should all remain together united, and they should be organized. So through various meetings and all, they should be empowered, or they should be inspired to come on to the roads. And of course, Gandhiji was inspiring and all, but he says there must be more precise planning to lead a movement, especially with this masses. Okay, so that was his emphasis. The All India National Planning Committee was formally inaugurated by Bose at Mumbai in December 1938. As I said, he was a member. Subhash Chandra Bose ideology was always in action. So, how exactly one has to execute if they come onto road for the national struggle? So, this kind of planning was always done by him. So, as a matter of fact, he also formed an All India National Planning Committee so that how these masses should be organized, where they should be organized, how they should be united always, and all such planning for the movement was supposed to be planned by this committee. So he was the person who responsible for the formation of All India National Planning Committee. So of course this planning committee was working very close with the Indian National Congress. So, what was the rift of Subhash Chandra Bose with Gandhiji? So, what were the differences that that the historians observed between Subhash Chandra Bose and Gandhiji? In what, specific areas he was differing with the ideologies of Gandhiji? So, that we will discuss now. So, Subhash Chandra Bose favored the policy of large scale industrialization. On the other hand, Gandhiji favored the idea of small scale industries to make villages self sufficient. So, on one hand, Subhash Chandra Bose thinks that because his ideology is very revolutionary, he wants everything in a very rapid manner. So, he believed that rapid industrialization in India could make India skip out of poverty and unemployment so that it can or it can make itself stand before the mighty European nations. It doesn't want India, to be slowly and slowly progressive with not having much industries, because Gandhiji, those days, he was mostly focusing on the rural areas. So, rural areas in those days were with many cottage industries, very small scale industries, and all. And Gandhiji believed that it is the rural India which serves as the spine for the entire India. You can call it like it will serve as a like the root for the entire India. So that root must be always preserved. So he always was his ideology was always focusing towards making villages self-sufficient by making the small-scale industries supportive, by supporting the small-scale industries. Whereas, on the other hand, Subhash Chandra Bose believed in rapid industrialization, starting of big industries, running the country's economy at a rapid way, and making the country, to come out of poverty and unemployment. This is also right from Gandhiji's point of view, and from Bose's point of view. Even that rapid industrialization is also needed, but in their ideology, they were rapid in those things. Bose was actively involving in, he wanted, so that's the reason he set up even a planning commission so that he can set up some new industries also, not only with related to national movement. He also used that planning commission at various purposes. So that was the biggest gap there. And Bose favored using tact while dealing with the opponents, and he could not appreciate the openness with which Gandhiji spoke, putting forward his demands at the time of second session of the Round Table Conference in London. So what happened was, there is also another kind of difference. Both favored using tact. Tact means if any task is taken up, he wanted to end it. That means he wanted to complete that and he wanted to end it. Whereas so both opponents, Bose and Gandhiji, had a similar opponent, that is the British. When suppose you take Gandhi, what happened when civil disobedience movement was launched? When he was in jail, so Gandhi and Irwin made a pact. When civil disobedience movement was at its peak, and Gandhiji suddenly had a formal agreement with, Irwin, and he kept aside the civil disobedience movement, and he went to the second roundtable conference seeking some sort of progress in civil disobedience. I mean, some sort of, like there must be a progress. Otherwise, we cannot deal situations by just leaving like that. So civil disobedience movement was going on, but there must be some kind of response from British side. So unless there is a response, there is no what do you call progress in the movement. So Gandhiji, to his level, he was correct, and what he did, he went to second round table of conference, and he openly said what they want. This was not like by Bose. His policy was always stacked. Once you take up civil disobedience, why do you have again an agreement? Be tactful. That means, see, use that civil disobedience till you achieve the end of that. What is the purpose of civil disobedience movement? It was bringing Purna Swaraj. So till you get Purna Swaraj, why do you give up? Why do you keep aside this movement and go to second roundtable conference? So here, this kind of ideology was not matching between Gandhi and Subhash Chandra Bose. This was another difference that Subhash Chandra Bose faced with Gandhiji. So coming to the Tripuri session of, this is another gap where it came between Gandhi and Subhash Chandra. The Tripuri session of Congress in 1939 saw the widening of the gulf between the two wings of the Congress party. So as I have already said, there were already two groups in Congress party. So one group supporting Gandhiji's ideology and the other group not supporting Gandhiji's ideology. So here, Subhash Chandra Bose belonged to the left wing. He was called left wing. That group which does not agree with the points of Gandhiji were referred as left wing. And that group which was referred as that supports Gandhiji was referred as right wing by historians. Okay, right wing congressman, left wing congressman. So All the left-wing congressmen were uh, led by Subhash Chandra Bose, and he wanted the Congress to help the people of the princely states in their struggle for freedom. So, Subhash Chandra Bose said he wanted the princely states to help. He wanted the people of princely states to get help from Congress party in the struggle of freedom. Whereas Gandhiji criticized their demand. Why do you think Gandhi will criticize the demand of people of princely states? In fact, here Gandhiji was not against people of princely states. By this time, the princely states who were ruled by the Rajas or the kings, they played a cunning tactic. What is that? When Gandhiji was there, they went and spoke with Gandhiji, and they have said that all princely states wanted to together, or among the princely states, majority of the princely states, they wanted to form a union, and this union does not need any constitution to rule themselves. So with this idea, they went to Gandhi and they said to Gandhi that, see, we all wanted to become a union, so we no longer wanted to work under British, but these are very much loyal to British earlier. Remember, they thought they wanted when federation and all such things was proposed by the Britishers' side. Suddenly, they have shifted their loyalty and they went to Gandhiji and they said that we all together want to form a union. We don't need any federation and all. Instead of this federation and constitution, we will form as a union of our princely states and we will rule ourselves as a separate group. Gandhiji did not agree to this kind of proposal because he felt that he wanted the people of princely states to work or to lead their lives under a constitutional machinery, not under this kind of monarchical machinery. So he said, why don't you discuss with your people and represent them properly? Why are you trying to create a union and you don't want to have a constitution for that? So with this kind of demand, he did agree with the princely state representatives. He thought the princely state people would lose with this, but why Subhash Chandra Bose was agreeing with this? Because he said at least for by now we can take the princely states into freedom movement. Till then they were loyal to British and they were not participating. At least with this he wanted the princely states also to join the movement, so that he wanted the Congress party also to be with them. So but Gandhiji openly rejected this kind of proposal, and this also created a gap between the two groups in Congress party. And as Britain started facing difficulties in Europe because of the German threat, Gandhiji wanted to adopt a compromising attitude towards British. So when during the Second World War, as German threat was more for Britain, Gandhiji, he also said that the statement made by Gandhiji that we don't expect our freedom at the destruction of Britain. So that statement itself shows that Gandhiji was never, in favor of British destruction in the war of Second World War. So during Second World War, he was actually showing a compromising attitude with British because they wanted, in a way, to help the British and they wanted to get some returns back. That was Gandhiji's plan. But Subhash Chandra Bose, he wanted this thing to be taken as a great opportunity. Let's see how it is. So Subhash Chandra Bose, he opposed to, and no, Gandhiji was opposed to any national struggle during the war. So when the entire world got split into two groups and fighting war, and Gandhiji never would support the Germans under Hitler. The way Hitler took dictatorship and the violence he is practicing would naturally be, opposing to Congress under the leadership of Gandhiji. So he wanted at least Britain, which is democratic in nature, to be more active in war. So he said, we don't want to trouble British at this moment when war is at its peak. And Bose, on the other side, he wanted to take advantage of the difficulties faced by British. So on the other hand, Subhash Chandra Bose felt this is not our job to worry about whether Britain would destroy or something. this is a right time for us to act in a right way so that we can use the enemies of British to destroy British and make ourselves free. So this ideology was also always contradictory between these two leaders, and a rift in the Congress. So a gap came, and what happened in the Congress party, that we will see. At the Tripuri session of Congress in 1939, which occurred in Madhya Pradesh, Gandhiji tried to dissuade Subhash Chandra Bose from standing for re-election as president of Congress for a second term. So during this Tripuri session of Congress, again Subhash Chandra Bose was preparing himself to stand again as a contestant of Congress president. Bose, however, decided to contest, and Gandhiji's choice fell upon Pattabhi Sitaramayya. So naturally, Gandhiji doesn't want the presidentship. See, this is the inner historian's view. Gandhiji doesn't want a revolutionary kind of a man to become president of Congress at this situation when all the war and all are going on. So he was worried that it may lead to violence in India. So he doesn't want Subhash Chandra Bose to lead Congress at this peak hours. So he naturally went with other candidate. Gandhiji proposed another candidate called Pattabhi Sitaramayya. So Pattabhi Sitaramayya is, you can remember him like he was the founder of Andhra Bank and all. So Gandhiji proposed Pattabhi Sitaramayya as a presidential candidate. And the other side, Subhash Chandra Bose was also contesting. He put his full weight in his nominee's favor during the contest. So Gandhiji tried his best to make Pattabhi Sitaramayya as the president of Indian National Congress. But Bose won by a majority of votes. But naturally, the way Subhash Chandra Bose was involving himself and the way he was planning and all attracted some of the congressmen, and they have naturally voted Subhash Chandra Bose as their leader or their president. Gandhiji, after seeing after seeing Bose electing as president, he declared that the defeat of Bose's rival, that is Pattabhi Sitaramayya, was his personal defeat. So Gandhiji gave an open statement saying that Pattabhi Sitaramayya's defeat in the hands of Subhash Chandra Bose is defeat of Mahatma Gandhi itself. As a consequence of this statement, the 13 members of the Congress Working Committee resigned. So they got very much moved at the way Gandhiji was saying, and they felt very bad that we are ignoring Gandhiji, and they have all resigned. Congress Working Committee was a important group of congressmen who decides about the resolutions and planning and everything of Congress party. Such a committee has seen resignations of all the 13 men because of the statement made by Mahatma Gandhi. Then, with the popular demand from Congress, a request was made to the president to nominate a working committee according to the wishes of Gandhiji. So, seeing the way Gandhiji responded at the president election, all congressmen wanted to pacify Gandhiji. So, they made a request that at least the working committee, which has to be set up now because of the resignation of all members, must be set up in favor of Gandhiji. So, all that Congress working committee members must be at least enough to, or they must at least be prepared enough to meet the wishes of Gandhiji. In fact, if you want to conclude at the outset, they wanted a working committee that is completely favorable of Gandhiji. And majority of the delegates who had supported Bose reconfirmed their confidence in the leadership of Gandhiji. So, when this working committee was established and this proposal was made that the working committee should be more favorable to Gandhiji, then even people who have voted in favor of Subhash Chandra Bose during his president candidatureship, it was all those people also they have voted for this kind of Gandhiji's leadership by creating. So those people who even voted for Subhash Chandra Bose, they have also expressed their confidence in the working committee that would be in favor of Gandhiji. They have also reconfirmed that yes, we believe in the leadership of Gandhiji. Now, this created a deadlock between Bose and Gandhiji. So, see now, if this is Congress party and the major decision making body of Congress is Congress Working Committee, and the president will be Subhash Chandra Bose. This Congress Working Committee would be acting in favor of Gandhiji, and Subhash Chandra Bose ideology is different. Now, this kind of situation created a deadlock between Subhash Chandra Bose and Gandhiji. Suppose if Subhash Chandra Bose planned something revolutionary way, Congress committee, working committee would oppose because this would listen to Gandhiji obviously. So this kind of deadlock this kind of deadlock emerged in Congress party between Gandhi and Subhash Chandra Bose. Gandhi wing began to oppose the president to make it impossible for him to function. So they made situations very complicated for Subhash Chandra Bose to work and act. Even though he is a president, he must rely on the working committee decision in resolutions and all. But the Congress Working Committee, it was naturally under Gandhiji's influence, so it was stopping Subhash Chandra Bose to taking any decision. So then the Bose resigned from his presidentship of Congress on April 29th, 1939. So seeing this deadlock arise in Congress, Subhash Chandra Bose felt that he could not freely work with Congress and he resigned in Congress. And what is this forward bloc? Bose felt the urgent need for an organized left-wing party in the Congress. So when he resigned, he understood that there must be a very big group or there must be a very powerful group within the Congress that can oppose Gandhiji's principles or ideologies. So what he did after resigning from the presidentship of the Congress in 1939, he laid the foundation of a new party within the Congress. So within Congress party, gathering all the left wing or gathering all the people who are in support to him, he formed a new party within the Congress and that was referred as forward bloc, the party within Congress party. This is a associated party you can call within Congress party. He started another group called forward bloc. So what do you mean by forward bloc? So bloc refers to people with similar kind of mentality or similar interests. So this left wing people were all they were all brought under one umbrella called forward bloc, which was formed on May 3rd, 1939. So thus Subhash Chandra Bose was responsible for the creation of a new political wing within Congress called forward bloc. And for this forward bloc wing of Congress party within Congress, he also proposed certain objectives. So the immediate objective was liberation of India with the support of workers, peasants, youth, and other organizations. So there were many organizations by this time in India, some youth organizations, peasant organizations, and also workers, laborers organization. Forward bloc in its objective made clear that immediately they have an objective. That objective was to make all these groups come together and fight for the freedom and to liberate them from the British rule. And it also said a long term objective, that is, after attaining independence, Forward Bloc would work for the establishment of a socialist state. What is a socialist state? A state or society where there will be equality in all the sections. There won't be poor, rich, there won't be, poverty, there won't be unemployment. This kind of society was called socialistic society or socialistic state. Immediate aim was to involve these people and to gain independence. And the long-term objective of Forward Bloc was it wanted to create a socialist state in India. How it wanted to achieve that socialist state? Reorganization of agriculture and industry on socialist lines. So even though you all know that Subhash Chandra Bose was in favor of rapid industrialization, that doesn't mean he want all the industries to grow richer and richer and the other people to become poor. He doesn't want that gap also to be there. He want on one side agriculture should be progressive, on the other side industries also should be progressing. On what lines? Socialist lines. So agriculture should proceed in such a way that the agricultural laborers and the landowners should not be unequal in their wealth distribution. So naturally, laborers would be laborers, and landowners would be landowners, right? That kind of situation should not be there. He says that definitely there should be a economic equality between the laborers as well as the landowners. And also industries you take between workers and the owners, there must not be a wide gap that results in a negative economy. He wants them to be reorganized. So that he will do once freedom is achieved. And he also wanted to abolish the zamindari system. So under the Mughals and all the zamindari system, I mean British rule, the zamindari system came, and where the people in charges were kept to collect taxes and all. That system he wanted to abolish and introduce a new monetary and credit system. So what do you mean by monetary system and credit system? So monetary system is for any country to economically progress, they should decide what is the bank's interest, or what the bank should charge as interest on the loans, and many such things, because that will decide the cash inflow and cash presence in the people. So that monetary policy will decide the cash flow in society, how much cash should be flowing. I know that is healthy for economy. All such things will be considered under monetary policy. And credit system, how credit should be given, what are the charges of interest, how they should be recovered, and how it should be repaid. All such things they had a plan, economical planning. This were the objectives of Indian nation, sorry, forward bloc. So next comes the Netaji's arrest and escape. So in July 1940, Bose was arrested under the Defense of India rules. So as you know very well that Subhash Chandra Bose's ideology was revolutionary, and he was always planning some kind of violent activities and all. Then he went on a hunger strike. So he also undertook a hunger strike to protest against the British. As his health was declining rapidly, the government released him. So when he was arrested due to the revolutionary activities and all such planning, then in the prison his health was deteriorating. And because on health grounds, based on health grounds, he was later released. The government later released Subhash Chandra Bose. Thereafter, he was kept under house arrest in Kolkata. So instead of prison, they have kept Subhash Chandra Bose in a house arrest in Kolkata. But in January 1941, eluding police vigilance, he escaped from his house. So naturally, Subhash Chandra Bose, he thought that in this country he cannot organize anything under the strict vigilance of British. So he escaped the police vigilance, and he moved away from that house which he was detained. So in a secret manner, traveling through Peshawar and Russia, he reached even Berlin. Okay, so the capital city of Germany. So the Indian community in Germany welcomed him as their leader. So after escaping the house arrest from Kolkata, he traveled through Peshawar in Pakistan and later to Russia, and later he reached Berlin. So why do you think he moved to these areas? Because he was even prepared to meet all the dictators to dismantle the British in India. So the dictators of Germany like Hitler, and you take Mussolini in Russia, and many such dictators, he even wanted to join hands with them to destroy the British in India. So he reached Berlin there, and there in German, the Indians who were living there, they welcomed Subhash Chandra Bose as Netaji and greeted him with Jai Hind. So with this slogan, they have welcomed the Indians in Germany or Berlin, they welcomed him. He frequently urged his countrymen on the radio to rise in arms against the British. So, taking shelter in Germany or Berlin, addressing his countrymen, that is Indians, he also made many inspirational speeches through that radio from Berlin itself. He also founded Free India centers in Rome and Paris. So, from here onwards, Subhash Chandra Bose's plan was to go and prepare ground even in the foreign countries that one day would act against British. So he even prepared certain armies. Later on, you'll come to know that. So his ideology was now, as he is not in the India, he wanted to plan things against Britishers outside India. So he started even free India centers. That means these centers would work. These centers with people in those areas, Indians in those areas would work in liberating or in preparing ground for liberation of India from Britishers. So events in the Southeast Asia. So what happened in Southeast Asia? As you all know that the outbreak of Second World War also made the Southeast Asian countries in 1941 caused a great stir among the Indians in those regions. That means the people who are staying in this Germany and no other areas and all, they were facing a lot of trouble because Second World War made Japan and all to occupy these regions. So now the Indians living in these territories captured by Japan organized themselves into association with the objective of, so that means in the Southeast Asian regions as a part of Second World War, when they were captured by Japan and all, the Indians living in those areas were having a certain kind of trouble because from the native uh, people they were replaced by this Japan and other countries. So Indians living in those areas were facing some trouble. So the people who were living the Indians who were living in those areas, they have organized themselves into some associations. But these associations had an objective. So what was that objective? We will see now. So these associations, their objective was liberation of India and also serving the interest of overseas Indians during this critical period. So these associations which have formed, they have two primary goals. One is liberation of India from the British, and also they wanted to protect the overseas Indians. Overseas means people who are living outside India, to protect those people, the Indians outside India, as well as to liberate India from British hands in such critical period. These associations have emerged themselves. Out of these associations was born the idea of an Indian Independence League. So from these associations, okay, Bose even got an idea of Indian Independence League. So this Indian Independence League would specifically work liberation of India from Britishers' hands. And a definite shape was also given to this idea by Indian revolutionary. So by this time, inspired by Subhash Chandra Bose and all, there was another Indian revolutionary called Raj Bihari Bose. So this man, Raj Bihari Bose, he gave a definite structure and definite systematic thing for this Indian Independence League, and he was living in Singapore after escaping from India. So, like Subhash Chandra Bose, he also escaped to Singapore to take shelter, and there he was making this organization into more perfect one. Which organization? Indian Independence League.